Hello and welcome to another episode of Trailblazers Rising, where we share stories about scaling beyond limits. Today, I'm so excited to have on Tayler Silfverduk, who popped up on my radar very recently on the social medias, the TikToks and the Instagrams. And I said, who is this? I'm very interested in this ADHD business coach. She's adorable and I really like her style. So welcome, Tayler. I'm so glad to have you on today.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So we are going to dive right in because I want to know all about you as much as everyone listening wants to know all about you. So first and foremost, spill the beans. What sparked your entrepreneurial journey? Give us all the juicy details.
Man, I think I've been an entrepreneur since I can remember. I've always been trying to figure out how I can make money. So from lemonade stands to being a Girl Scout to selling cupcakes outside my front house, I've always been trying to figure out what can I do that I'm passionate about and also make money to pay for things that I'm interested in and also pay my bills, obviously. So I really think that it all formally started when I was in high school. I actually ran my own fermentation business where I sold homemade fermented artisanal vinegars in my city. And I did that wholesale and retail. And then I really got into the gut health space and helping people heal their guts because I had also been diagnosed with celiac disease. So I decided to become a dietitian, and I knew going in to become a dietitian that I wanted to have my own practice and I wanted to work for myself. So I also started building my own social media page related to that. And then from there, I kind of realized, oh my gosh, I've been coping with ADHD this whole time and I had no help with it. And there were a lot of things in my business that weren't friendly to my ADHD needs. So I made a bunch of changes and I was like, wow, I don't feel like anybody's talking about this, at least in the helper business space. And then I decided to also become an ADHD business coach. So that's, but I've always been hustling. I've always been trying to make money doing what I wanted to do. So
That is what I call, what me and my business partner at the Neurospicy Academy call healthy hustle. So that intrinsic internal drive to be successful and make money and help people without hurting yourself, without overdoing it, without the burnout quality. Now, I love the space that you occupy because I do believe that we thrive when we take a holistic, intuitive approach to healing ourselves as neurodivergent individuals, right? We know healing is a lifelong path and journey. We know that I don't know anybody that just goes, well, I'm healed and that is that, right? And it's not like we're not trying to say don't have ADHD anymore. What we're trying to say is let's make your life and business work for the way your brain works.
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So let us dive deeper and tell us about the one lesson that you've learned that stands out above the rest when it comes to, we'll just dive in and say social media and using social media for your business.
The one lesson that I've learned for using social media in my business, I feel like there's a lot of advice on what kind of content you should make, how to grow, what you should talk about, having to niche down super specifically. And I think as ADHDers, that can feel like a lot and it can feel paralyzing, almost like you get ADHD paralysis about starting your social media. And what I had to do every single time that I've started a business was just start posting and see what I liked to create, see how my audience responded to it, and kind of adapting to not just, what I like to create, but what I like to create that my audience did respond to. And I think I see a lot of people get stuck in trying to figure it out before they start. And that is where I see a lot of paralysis happening because of that perfectionism, that wanting to show up like I have it all figured out right now. But the truth is I'm still figuring it out. Like it's constantly changing with the algorithm. If I were to just stop and wait and figure out how I was supposed to do it perfectly before starting on social media, I would still not have a business.
What do you think? Okay, this is funny. And I knew that we were going to get off topic and I wasn't going to ask you all my official questions that I always ask. But my brain has scrambled eggs today from a very busy weekend. So we're going to go with it. What do you believe is the correlation between perfectionism and ADHD in AFAB entrepreneurs?
I think it's a way to avoid failure and avoid feeling like I feel like it's a protection mechanism for failure. At least that's how it showed up in me. So
We love that. Because, if it has to be perfect before you can release it to the ether and to the masses, then you're never going to release it.
exactly. Yeah.
Now, I will say, as the Neurospicy Mindset Coach, I ask every one of my clients and every one of the Neurospicy Academy members when they get stuck in this thought loop of perfectionism and I can't do anything until it's perfect is something similar to this because it always happens on the spot. Say, okay, so point me to a perfect piece of content you ever created. And they go, well, I don't have one. I said, okay, well, point me to a perfect piece of content somebody else created. And they said, well, I don't have that. I said, all right, well, point me to a perfect person in your world. I can't do that. Okay, so maybe the perfection is the thing that's keeping us from doing the task. Because you know as well as anybody, as an ADHD business coach, that what we think is holding us back isn't what's actually holding us.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've heard like my course just isn't done yet. I still haven't finished this one thing. Like there's so many reasons why it's not ready, but there's also a million reasons why it is.
Yeah. Yep. I am a firm believer in messy action.
I
And if
think
you
it's
are,
the most ADHD friendly because otherwise it's so easy to get stuck.
I actually found out, okay, so when it comes to email marketing, which is something that I'm very interested in and getting better at every day. And I follow a lot of really big coaches in multiple industries, but health and wellness, mindset, business, that sort of thing. They're not neurodivergent specific. And I do that because I want to see what emails everybody's sending. Like, all right, what are these people saying? How often are they sending? Let's see. And when I tell you that in all of my emails, if you are subscribed to my newsletter, you will get a few emails a week and at least one of those emails is going to have a mispunctuation, a misspelling, but it's never going to be a there, there, and there. Those are always going to be right. But is a help going to get through instead of a help? Absolutely. I don't know why. Let's blame the computer, not the user. But what I found out in marketing, people will send out an email with a bad link or with like a misspelling or something like that in the subject line to get opens. Because think about this, if you send out a beautifully crafted email with a link to join your workshop or whatever it is, and that link doesn't work, then A, the email gods are happy because people are emailing you back and saying, hey, this link didn't work. And B, you can just send that same email the next day with a whoops in the subject line, and it's going to get a bigger open rate and you didn't have to write another email. So that's just a knowledge bomb for everybody that does email marketing. People do that on purpose. When I do it, it's on accident, and I would like everybody to know. But it is, it's a very serendipitous accident and another proof in the pudding of why perfectionism is not the goal, right?
Yeah. And I think for me, obviously the mistakes are always an accident. They're never intentional. But I think that that's also a really good lesson of with almost by trying to achieve perfection in everything that you do, you almost lose that humanness side, that
Yeah.
side of like, oh my gosh, this person is a human being who wants to help me too. And
Yeah.
that can be really just to buyers as well, versus like, oh, I mean, like almost everyone has accidentally sent the wrong link or not sent a link when they thought they would. And so like letting that and just letting that, like just going with that flow can also
Yeah.
kind of speak to your human side of the fact that like you're a human behind your business.
Absolutely. So I am very big on time management and energy management. And I believe those are two different things. And one of my clients actually sent me a link to a article about move over time management. The new thing is energy management. And we got to talking about how both of those are so very, very important, especially when you're neurodivergent, because we have time blindness. I tell people straight up between my dyscalculia and my time blindness, I don't know where I am most of the time, and I don't know how long I've been here. So, how would you say that you handle time management in your business?
Time management is so I would say I actually really, really struggled with this before my partner ended up getting a job. When my partner didn't have a job, I would work all hours of the day whenever, just because I always wanted to spend time with them or I wanted to spend time with friends. But now I try to pair my work schedule similar to theirs so that we're off at the same times. And that's really helped me with getting at least the work hours in. But then figuring out what to do, I think, is the other time on projects. So you're not spending all your time in newsletter marketing when you need to be balancing it out with other things. For me, that's been a lot of like, I have very flexible blocks of time for what I should be working on. And if I'm not feeling a newsletter, like say Mondays, I have a block of newsletters for me. I will swap it with something else that's on my calendar, depending on what I'm in the mood for. But the newsletter's still on my calendar to work on for the week, but I have the flexibility of choosing if it's not something that I'm feeling motivation or energy wise. That makes sense.
Thank you. I love that you're using the term flexible because if it ain't flexible, it ain't for me. I tell you what. Now, when we talk about running a business and you run multiple businesses, what would you say fuels your fire first and foremost to run those businesses? Other than the freedom and flexibility of nobody ever telling you what the fuck to do.
Yeah, that would be like the number one thing, but I'd say I hear a lot of people talk about like, do you work to live or live to work? And I honestly believe that even if I didn't have to make money doing what I do, I would still do it because it is something that I'm so passionate about and something that like I could talk about for hours. I could talk about celiac disease for hours. I could talk about ADHD for hours. So what helps me, like what keeps me going, I lost the question, but I think that that's where I'm at, is that like passion and that excitement that I feel. And that honestly, it's the sense of community for me. These are spaces that are personal to me. I have celiac, I have ADHD, I run my own business. And so because it's so personal to me, it's easy for me to stay involved.
Yeah. I love that. I'm so glad that we're finally meeting. I know that this isn't the most professional thing, but I knew I was going to love you. My spirit guides are real loud about certain people. And at the moment you
Oh.
came across my FYP, I went, okay, all right. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. All right. Which brings me to being vulnerable is something that I am not very good at doing. And it is because, I like to connect with people, but I like to connect with the right people. And I am a huge proponent and preacher and believer of don't speak up in rooms that are full of people that are committed to misunderstanding you. And
Yeah, what's it?
listen, when it comes to trusting your gut, fighting the good fight, I even have a word with my spirit guides that I hear in my head when it is time to stop talking to somebody because they're committed to misunderstanding me. And that's when I hear the word idiot and I go, all right, cool. That means that I would be an idiot to continue wasting my time and energy on a person that just wants to stick to what they're saying and doesn't want to hear what it is that I'm saying, right? So, what would you say has been very helpful for you on your entrepreneurial journey when it comes to like networking and whatnot? Because when we have ADHD, I'm sorry, I don't always want to talk to people. So, what helps you when it comes to, building those connections and relationships and networking?
So that's really complicated. I guess part of it is I put out content that I feel like is speaking to my heart. It's coming from like a very authentic place. So I hope that it calls the people that it's supposed to call. That sounds like such a non actionable
No,
piece of
no, no,
advice,
no.
but
Everybody's gonna go to your social media and they're gonna see when I tell the members of the Neurospicy Academy that I need a freaking hook at the beginning of every one of their videos, you call out exactly the person that you are talking to with every one of your videos. It is amazing and I love you for it.
yeah. So that part I think is really helpful. And then, I have obviously we have like specific approaches and ideas that attract similar people of like minds in different networking spaces. So just kind of making my values known, making my beliefs known so that the people that I want to network with, the people that I want to be surrounded with, the people that I want in my corner professionally, networking wise, are there is really important. So like as a dietitian, I have some like specific approaches that I like to take with my clients. And I make that very clear in my work so that I'm attracting the clients who appreciate that approach. And I'm also attracting dietitians who specialize in other areas of health that may need attention too, so that we can work together and send each other clients as we have people who might be a better fit for someone else. So I think by making your values clear and your beliefs clear, you can not only reach your target audience and really speak to them and help them feel seen and potentially build that rapport and that community that also helps you feel more motivated to keep showing up, but
Yeah.
also you can also speak to the people who are also in a similar space who are trying to do something similar with other markets and build that connection too, because you both know like, okay, I would feel really comfortable sending somebody who needs help with mindset to Melody versus like, someone else that I know doesn't have a ADHD friendly approach, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because those of us in the health and wellness space and the neurodivergent health and wellness space, even more particularly, and then closer in dealing with entrepreneurs and business owners, we really have specific challenges that are pretty universal for people with our experiences, right? Imposter syndrome, first and
Mhm.
foremost. So I would like everybody listening to know that my special interest is research. So I go hard and ham on anything that is interesting in any way, shape, or form. And imposter syndrome is right up there at the top of the list. And I'll tell you, I found out that 2 women psychiatrists, or they're in that field at a university in Georgia. I don't know which one it is because, again, I have scrambled egg brains from a very busy weekend. However, they coined the term imposter syndrome back in the late 70s when they noticed in their field of high achieving academic women were all dealing with this feeling that no matter what the award, no matter what the promotion, no matter what good thing came to them, they could not attribute it to their own merit. They had to say something like, "Oh, well, I guess everybody else that was up for it wasn't that great," or, "Oh, it's just because I worked really hard," or anything like that. Whereas the men in that field would get the award and say, "Thank you." So when I tell people imposter syndrome is like breast cancer, it can affect men, but it's primarily a woman's issue. I would like everybody to know that. So my imposter, when she speaks up, I call her Piper because she's always piping up when I don't want to hear her. And what I found being a business mindset coach for so long is that everyone's imposter syndrome says something different to them. So my imposter syndrome says, who the fuck do you think you are? You don't know this. You don't know enough about this. You can't help people with it. Everybody knows the amount of information that you know. So I'm curious, what does your imposter say to you and how do you battle them?
Wow. I'm trying to think, and actually, I haven't heard my imposter syndrome in a
Okay, I'll just
minute.
go then. All right. No need to brag.
No, I'm just saying I don't struggle with it because that voice comes up a lot, and sometimes it can be really hard to push through. But I think, like, especially when I'm burnt out or if I have some needs that are not being met, she said she tends to be a lot louder. But I would say,
What do you mean? Hold on, break it down. So when you have needs that aren't being met, she gets louder. So that must mean she has maybe a little bit of a loving tone, or like you're forgetting about me. Would that be true?
no, I think I'm just more likely to hear her if I am not weaker, but just I have some blind spots that I'm ignoring. So, for example, if I'm overworking and I'm not giving myself the chance to rest, I'm not eating routinely, those kinds of things where like I'm not setting myself up to have the strength and when I'm talking with my clients in nutrition, part of the biggest things I'd like to talk about is if you're not eating enough, then you don't have the energy to process things at full potential. And
Oh
so,
yeah.
like, if I'm not eating enough, then I literally don't have the energy to stand up against her and be like, not today. So it gets louder and louder and louder if I am heading for burnout, which I think happens to the best of us. The goal is to have it happen less, but and I would say usually it's saying a lot of the same thing of like, you don't have enough degrees, you don't have enough credentials, you're not trained enough in this, who are you to say anything? This person is so much more confident than you. They probably have a much better approach. Like, and that's just what I always have to remind myself is I am me and I'm going to speak to the people who need to hear my voice and need to hear my approach and my value. And it's okay if someone chooses someone else because they have a different approach and that doesn't say anything about me. But like, obviously I still struggle, but that's one of the things that kind of gets me through it is because there are people that like I choose because I just needed to hear them say it. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
I love that. I have to ask you, because you have so much wisdom and knowledge. How many years have you been out of high school?
Oh my
Because if
gosh, I
if
can't
you're
even remember.
listening only and you're not watching, it's because she is a baby face and it's the most adorable baby face. But like
What?
you have so much experience under your belt and knowledge under your belt and wisdom under your belt for a you're in your 20s.
Yeah, so I'm 26, so 8 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
and just been doing business since Girl Scouts.
Girl Scouts, I think that counts, but I actually usually just count all the way back to my vinegar business, but
Yeah.
yeah.
We can go farther back than that. I'm here. I'll give you all the accolades in the world. Absolutely. So another comorbidity of ADHD that runs at a very high rate, they're talking 90%, probably more, is rejection sensitivity dysphoria.
Mhm.
And when I tell you the freedom that I felt once I found out about rejection sensitivity dysphoria and premenstrual disorder, I went, I'm not crazy. I am not crazy. These are literally like, and I'll give you an example because I love an example. I think examples are the spice of life and the only way that keeps us going. I've been married to my husband for 9 million years. We got married in 2000. And so don't even tell me if you were born then or not because I don't even want to know. I've been married to my husband for a very long time and I love him dearly and he loves me dearly. Every single time I call him and he doesn't answer, my first gut reaction is he's at the divorce attorney's drawing up the paperwork because my rejection sensitivity. Because he is the most important person in the world to me. And if I lost him, I don't know what I would do. Now that I understand it's the rejection sensitivity, my second thought is this rational? And then I say no. And so I can stop that spiral before it starts. So I'm curious to know, you've been running businesses for a long time and you run multiple businesses now, which require sales to get clients and all that sort of stuff. And I know that's one of the biggest complaints of all of my members at the Neurospicy Academy and my clients. So how do you handle rejection sensitivity? How do you just take it on the chin and keep moving forward?
I think having the passion for what you're doing and the desire to help people or serve people in the way that you choose is really what helps keep me going, in a sense of, okay, maybe they don't need my help right now, but there is someone who does need my help. And honestly, I kind of reframe it in a perspective of, I'm glad they don't need my help, right? Like, I would love to help anyone who needs my help, but if I'm not for them, that's fine. And if they're not struggling with the things that I can help them with, honestly, that is a blessing. But it's when you mentioned like your partner and feeling like they're always going to the divorce attorney, because I feel like I'm constantly like I'm waiting to do the one thing that's going to make my partner leave me. And it's never like I can't
Yeah.
do anything. But like
Yeah.
the rejection sensitivity is so strong. I would say like it shows up the strongest for me in posting on social media. And it also shows up the strongest for me in sales too. Social media, it hurts like no other when you are being authentic and pouring your soul into your content and it gets no likes, no views. And I always have to remind myself too, especially when I'm marketing or pushing something that I'm selling, I'm not posting it for engagement. I'm
Yeah.
posting it to get in front of the people who need my help so that they can buy from me and that I can support them. So I have to reframe how I'm attributing the metric or the value to the kind of engagement that I'm getting. And for sales, like I can't tell you how many failed businesses. And I only told you what the ones that like I actually thought what I could tell you how many failed businesses, how many failed launches that I've had in selling stuff. And it sucks when you're like, why is no one buying from me? I know this is a really great offer. I know that I poured everything into this. I poured everything into my marketing and it hurts and it cuts deeper. I feel like with rejection sensitivity, it feels like you failed in life entirely and there's no future. Like that sounds
Yeah.
I feel like it sounds dramatic, but that's how it feels. And I just have to remind myself, like, there are things that I can adjust if I want to try again, or, it's not about me. And that's one of the biggest things. I also really try. I'm not that great at it because this is like my passion. Both sides are so personal to me. But I try to separate and reframe it as also that is about my business. That's not about me,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm separate. As passionate as I am at it about it, and as intertwined as I am with it, very separate. And it has nothing to do with my value. It has nothing to do with the value of what I was offering. It has everything to do with who chose to buy it and not. And that doesn't have to be, although it feels personal, it doesn't have to be personal.
It doesn't have to be personal. Really, as a mindset coach, the one thing that plays in my head when I am taking something personally is this has nothing to do with me and everything to do with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we leave a party and we go home and we're berating ourselves about all the stupid shit that we said and oh my God, why did I say that? The person you were talking to went home and did the same thing, but about themselves. Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody is thinking and talking about you as much as you are. So that really helps me, rein it in when the spiral starts. But I have to ask you, Sin, I have an ADHD business coach and a dietitian here. Please tell us some of the most either slept on or gate capped or should be more well known tips and tricks for improving your ADHD symptoms with diet. So we know first and foremost a high protein diet. I know it sucks, it's boring, but it's true. Give me some other the good stuff. Tell me what I gotta know.
So I'll first say I think specialization is really important to acknowledge. So I primarily specialize in celiac disease. So my specialty is not in ADHD specific nutrition. I do like know some general facts, but I just want to say that the same goes for like I think when you're signing up for business coaches and any other kind of helper, it's important you're choosing somebody who specializes in the right thing for what you need help with because that drastically changes the level of care and the level of support that you get
And the outcome,
and the
absolutely.
outcome for sure. Yeah. But for ADHD, I would say protein can be really helpful just with balancing blood sugars and balancing your energy levels. I would also say, like, oftentimes, if it's coming down to you not eating and eating anything at all, just eating something can be really helpful. And having those really simple meals can be really, really efficient. So, like protein shakes, like, wow, my brain is blanking. Oh, wow. Hold
It's
on.
okay. That's why you're in a neurodivergent friendly space. It happens to all of us.
Or like a peanut butter sandwich, you got carbs, you got fat, you got protein. Like, if it's coming down to, and I know we all have that perfectionistic, or not all of us, but a lot of us have that black and white
We all
perfectionistic
got it. It's all
thinking.
right. We got it.
So when it comes down to it, oftentimes I also think that that can stop someone from eating. And if it's coming down to you eating nothing and eating at all, just eat the thing that you know you'll eat. And I think also novelty is really important. And sometimes it's going to be boring, and you just have to eat it in order to get through it. So those would be. I'm not sure what I said, but
It all made perfect sense.
it's like
So
connected.
tell me
I'm laughing.
this. I'm really interested because I know a few people that I have known closely in my past that are celiacs or have celiac. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. But how early on, or like when did you find out about your celiac? What were the symptoms that you were having before you found out that made you say something's going on?
So I had digestive distress for years. And this is, I think, part of the reason why I had trouble getting an ADHD diagnosis too, just from past medical traumas. But I had digestive distress for years and was written off as it being anxiety, stress, whatever it is. And it actually didn't, I wasn't diagnosed until my high school years after my mom got diagnosed on a fluke. And they were like, oh, maybe we should screen you for celiac too. And I do notice something, there's a pretty high overlap of people who have ADHD and celiac. And there's
Yeah.
also, it's really important to tease out too, celiac disease, untreated celiac disease, which basically means if you're not living gluten free, if you have celiac disease, has a high level of ADHD like symptoms that can pop
Yeah.
up, which can also cause a misdiagnosis in ADHD as well. So it gets really complicated to tease out the two. But I will say, if I have been exposed to gluten with celiac disease, my ADHD symptoms act up like nobody's business. Like, it is
Yeah.
so hard to focus. It's so hard to have like that executive function, to think clearly. So yeah, that's a little bit about how the
Wow.
celiac has been involved.
Wow. So when it comes to managing your issues with executive function, right? So like right now, I've said a few times that I have scrambled egg brains because I hosted a workshop over the weekend, and it's taxing on me to, remember where you are and in your presentation and be looking at everybody's faces and judging if they're getting it, where you have to, that sort of thing. So I built in to my schedule every day rest time, and I limit transition as much as possible, and I align with my natural energy cycles. So like between 3 and 6 p.m. every day, I am not going to be working on my business. I can be talking to my business partner or talking to members at the Neurospicy Academy on our virtual campus, but I'm not actively able to get my brain to do the work. Right. And whether that's because I have kids and they're now teenagers, but like that 3 to 6 hour was usually when you're picking them up from school and you're taking them to practice and you're making dinner, la, 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 la. My brain literally, it's like a joke at the academy that just she's still there, but she can't do any work on her business. She's not going to be writing any emails right now. So what have you found really helps you manage the ADHD, executive function issues, organization and task paralysis? What helps you the most?
So I'll say like my time of day is, and I always joke like every hour past 6 p.m., I am more unreliable. That is like when I'm completely spent. But I would say what helps me the most is kind of evaluating and checking in with myself. Where is my executive function at? And what am I supposed to be working on? And what is a task that, based on the levels that I have right now, that I would be able to manage? And then also kind of trying to come up with hacks and things to make things easier where I do need to find a lot of executive function, or compromises that I can make when I need to do something that requires executive function and I just don't. Did that answer the
I like that.
question?
So I'll go a step further. My biggest executive function hack right now, and it's what I'm making a lot of content about today, is using ChatGPT to write all of my emails. And what I mean by that is I don't know what area of executive function this really lies in, but I have all of it up here in my brain. everything that I want to say. I can see how I want to say it, where the bullet points go and all that sort of stuff. But then when I sit there looking at the blank page, getting ready to type, formulating it can take me hours, hours. So I go on ChatGPT and I treat him like he's my little golden retriever, assistant that wants to do nothing but take care of me and help me. And he's very capable and smart. He just needs direction. And I say, hey, I'm back again. I need to write an email that says da 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 da. And I literally just like brain dump on him. And I say, can you help me with that? And he spits out the email. So that's the biggest hack that I have for executive function in business. What are some of yours?
I've been using ChatGPT a lot too. It's been one of the biggest game changers for me. So I will write something out in Word vomit exactly like you do, and then I'll be like, okay, make this make sense. Or alternatively, I've been doing a lot of I feel like for me, the hardest part is to get started. I feel like the biggest block is I when I'm writing newsletters, I don't really know what I want to say. I kind of have an idea of where I'm supposed to go. 1 second, I have to cough.
Let it
But
out.
I'd say I can't visualize anything, and I have a lot of trouble with storytelling and telling things in a line that makes sense. And I feel like a lot of the times I am just word vomiting. So just having ChatGPT walk me through things, I'll also have it coach me through steps. So for example, if I need to, I don't know, I want to make a quiz. I'm like, okay, I want to make a quiz on helping people figure out what kind of executive function they're struggling with right now. I'm just making this up on the fly,
Ah,
right? So what executive function type is speaking to me right now? So then I'll ask it and I'll say, coach me through this question by question, how to create this quiz. And so then it asks me a question and helps me do it. So it actually coaches me through it. I will say sometimes it really misses the mark and you really have to baby it. But it is really helpful in just at least getting started and figuring out what it is that I need to do the task that I am trying to do that I feel completely paralyzed by.
yeah.
And I think taking it the step past the list out what I need to do, because I can make a list. Okay. I'm great at
Yeah.
making what I need to actually hold my hand through it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh my God. I love that so much. I knew I was going to love interviewing you. You're such a good time. Oh, you're such a good time. Well, that will bring me to my last official question, which is communication is key. We know this in life, especially right now during this Mercury retrograde. Do you have any tricks for clearly communicating your message in, your marketing, your social media, your mission statement, all that sort of stuff when it comes to conveying what you do and for whom you do it?
So I would say first, especially if you're just starting out, be flexible. So when I first started ADHD business coaching, I was primarily targeting a very specific type of helper, but I'm realizing that I want that to be a lot more broad. So be flexible if you see a need to change, but also literally, if you're trying to reach that audience, literally call them, talk to them.
Yeah.
Like you said, when I was making all of my posts, I literally say, hey, ADHD in business, because that's the person I want to talk to. Literally call them out, call the descriptors. And if that doesn't work for you, if you feel like it's not working, it's okay to be flexible to who you want to speak to. But literally call them out and call their descriptors and let them know, you are the person I want to talk to. You are who I've been looking for. I think that's probably my biggest piece of
Yeah.
advice.
Just be clear. Be clear. You're not being annoying. And if they are annoyed, they can unfollow.
Yeah, and I always tell myself if they are annoyed, they were never going to buy from me, and I am a
Yeah.
business first. So if you're willing to filter through all my marketing and take all the free nuggets, good on you. I love having you here. And also, if you feel like my marketing isn't worth it and you never wanted to buy from me anyways, that's also okay. But I am a business first, so I have to market. I got to pay my bills. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Taylor, so right now, what I'm going to have you do before we get to the lightning round of bonus fun questions, I'm going to ask you to plug your spot. Tell everybody listening where they can find you. It'll all be linked as well, and what they can grab from you right now to get an improvement either in their nutrition or in their ADHD business. Plug your spot.
So, if you have celiac disease and you're listening and you want help simplifying living with celiac disease, I have an entire course that'll walk you through the entire process and simplify it all for you, because I know it can be really hard to filter through all the misinformation, and it can also it can feel really difficult to filter into actionable steps that don't feel completely overwhelming. I feel like it adds an added layer of overwhelm to living with ADHD. And then if you are an ADHD business owner, specifically, I really like working with helpers because I am in the helping profession and you're looking for
When you
help
say
with building.
helper, what do you mean?
Oh, talking about being specific about your audiences. If you're a helper like a therapist, a dietitian, a wellness coach, movement coach, that kind of thing, you're the person that I really, really want to work with and just help. I help people build strategies and action plans that are ADHD friendly for different things that they want to launch or developing offers that feel like they're not completely burning them out. So if you want that help, feel free to DM me on Instagram or TikTok at ADHD.businesscoach, and I'm happy to chat.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes.
All right. These are fun questions. They're not scary. Don't worry. First and foremost, what's your favorite social media platform?
Instagram.
First time I've got Instagram. Okay. Second question.
Really? What does everyone say?
TikTok.
I think
TikTok,
you're
absolutely.
like big on TikTok, so probably TikTok, but I love Instagram.
I love TikTok. I'm learning to love Instagram. I will say that. All right. Number 2. What is the most recent rabbit hole you've gone down?
Oh, it's not coming to me.
So
Rabbit hole.
I have recently gone down rabbit holes about dog breeds. It's something that I was very well versed in as a child. My parents handed me this big book of dog breeds because we were like, "Hey, we want a dog." You know, my sister and I. They said, "All right, here," and they handed me this book that was this thick and said, "Figure it out." And I read all of it. And so I've recently been going down rabbit holes about dog breeds, most specifically the doodles, the labradoodles and stuff, because I don't they have a human face, and I'm uncomfortable, like, when they like, their eyes can both see through you and, like, you're, like, looking into their soul. So that is my most recent rabbit hole. So if you remember yours, that's fine, you can tell us later.
I
Number
think it's
3. Oh, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's actually ChatGPT. I'm watching like every YouTube video possible on ChatGPT. I want this thing to make my life easier in every sense, not just business, personal life, working out, all of that. So
Oh,
probably
he really
ChatGPT.
can. He really it's a joke. Me and my business partner, Christina, at the Neurospicy Academy will be like, "Chat, can you help me?" I'm like, trying I'm like, he's a human. All right, question number 3. What is your emotional support show?
Oh my gosh, Gilmore Girls.
Really? That's the first time I've gotten that one. I haven't thought about Gilmore Girls in a very long time. Okay, we'll give you Gilmore Girls. Absolutely. Number
It's
4 is a two-parter. First and foremost, have you consumed any water today?
yes.
And do you want to share your emotional support water cup? That was not an emotional support water cup.
This is okay. So sad story. I left my emotional support with my mom's, and she's like an hour away. So I'm stuck with this water bottle that I bought at a gas station.
I hope you guys get reunited soon. I'm sorry for you. All right, and then the last one. What is your current dopamine snack and or meal?
Oh man, I can't answer this one. I'm in a dopamine funk right now. Nothing is giving me. I know it's really rough, and I just that's where my nutrition advice earlier, where it was like just eat something. That's where I'm at the moment. Food is not doing it for me. There's not one thing that I'm obsessed with. I'm waiting for her to come back to me because it makes it so much easier.
Oh, yeah, it does.
But
Absolutely, it does. All right, well, mine is cheese toast. I like some
actually,
sharp cheddar on some sourdough. It's making a mess of my toaster oven, but I tell you what, man, she hits the spot every day.
sounds delicious.
Every day, I love it. I put a little bit of black sesame seeds on there and a little bit of Celtic sea salt just to really zhuzh it up.
Oh
Listen,
wow.
I'm a Taurus sun and a Taurus rising. I'm bougie built in. There's nothing I can do about it. So, Taylor, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. Everybody, make sure that you check out Taylor on all of her socials at ADHD.businesscoach. And then from there, you can obviously connect to her dietitian. Is that the right way to say it?
Celiac dietitian. Yeah.
Celiac dietitian pages as well. So, thank you so much, Taylor. Tell everybody how much you love them.
Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys so much. Love connecting with other ADHDers. So even if you just pop in to say hi, I love it.
Yeah, there's no better conversation than with a fellow ADHDer.
Mhm.
I love it. Excellent. All right.